Now let's talk about VLANs, Virtual Local Area Networks. You'll recall that by default, all ports attached to a Layer 2 switch operate within the same broadcast domain, which means that if device A attached to port 1 on a particular switch sends a frame that's a broadcast, that frame would be copied to all other devices attached to any other ports on that switch. This is a Layer 2 limitation. However, with VLANs, Virtual Local Area Networks, we're able to actually segment that same switch to operate like multiple Layer 2 bridges. So therefore, VLANs provide us with segmentation, flexibility, and security. Note here on switch A, we've assigned 3 ports to the red VLAN. By the way, we generally use colors to differentiate between the different VLANs. So here we have 3 ports in the red VLAN, 3 ports in the black VLAN, 3 in the green VLAN, all identified on switch A. It's important to note that each VLAN is its own broadcast domain. It's also important to note that each VLAN or broadcast domain should be directly associated with a separate logical subnet. So, here we have the red VLAN, black VLAN, and the green VLAN specified on switch A. Over here on switch B, note that we can have the same VLAN identified on a different switch. The red VLAN over here, the black VLAN, and the green VLAN. 3 ports are assigned to each of those VLANs respectively. If a broadcast is sent out by a device attached to a port that's in the red VLAN, the only other devices that would receive that broadcast would be those that are in the red VLAN. Other devices in the black VLAN or green VLAN would not receive that broadcast and so therefore not have to take up processor time on the respective devices. Each of these links or ports are referred to as access links. An access link is a link or port that's assigned to one VLAN. So each of these are access links. Access links in the red VLAN, in the black VLAN, and in the green VLAN. You have access links on switch B as well in each one of those VLANs. If we put an access link between switch A and switch B, a red access link between those, devices in the red VLAN on switch A could communicate with devices on switch B in the red VLAN across that red access link which is configured between the switches. However, the limitation still is that the black VLAN devices would not be able to communicate across from switch A to switch B, nor would we be able to communicate between the green VLAN and green VLAN on switch A and switch B. So therefore, instead of using an access link between the switches, we use what's called a trunk link. A trunk link is capable of carrying multiple VLANs. So you could have some red VLAN traffic going across, you have black VLAN traffic going across, as well as green VLAN traffic going across that same trunk link. So the access link carries one VLAN at a time, and then the trunk links carry multiple VLANs. Now, how do these links become members of a particular VLAN? This is called VLAN membership. There are 2 ways that this can take place. One is with static VLAN membership. This is where the administrator assigns a particular VLAN to a particular port. So, port 1 is assigned to the red VLAN, port 2 in the red VLAN, port 6 over here in the black VLAN. This is static VLAN membership. Dynamic VLAN membership takes place with a VLAN membership policy server. This is a server that contains a matching or a mapping of MAC addresses to appropriate VLANs. An example of the dynamic VLAN membership would be when a user takes a laptop and has to go to a particular conference room, say for instance on the third floor. That user can plug in a laptop into a port that's in that conference room. The MAC address on his laptop would be associated with or would be looked up in the VLAN membership policy server, and that port would become a member of that particular VLAN that MAC address is assigned to in the server. The next user comes in during the next meeting in that same conference room, plugs a different laptop with a different MAC address into that same port. That MAC address would be compared in the VLAN membership policy server, and now the port becomes a member of that VLAN associated with that MAC address. The next topic to be concerned with regards to these trunk links would be the concept of frame tagging. There has to be some type of way of actually identifying which VLAN a frame has come from and is going to on the receiving switch. This is called frame tagging. There are two methods of frame tagging. One, ISL, inter-switch link. This is a Cisco proprietary protocol for frame tagging using a 26-byte header that's attached to the front of the frame. The other method of frame tagging is 802.1q, which is an industry standard method of frame tagging that does not re-encapsulate the frame, but instead inserts the VLAN tag information inside the existing frame. This ensures that the 802.1q tag is non-intrusive to client devices or intermediate devices that do not recognize the frame tagging method. 802.1q also associates a native VLAN, which includes no tag at all. The native VLAN, which by default is VLAN 1, contains no VLAN tagging as the frame is being sent between switches. So VLANs provide us with a method of segmentation, flexibility, and security. Segmentation, by dividing the switch into logical broadcast domains. Flexibility, by the fact that users are no longer limited to their proximity in terms of the VLAN that they're a member of or the local area network that they're a member of. And security, since one VLAN's traffic can't go into another VLAN's traffic without going through a router. So keep in mind, a VLAN is a broadcast domain and a logical subnet.